to another Kleros community call. Can you hear me? All good?
Yes, we can hear you.
Cool. So today is April 9, 2025. And well, if guys, if this is the last community call because there is some type of nuclear war or whatever, it was a pleasure to get to know you guys. Yeah, thank you for following Kleros all this time. Nah, we're good. Nothing is going to happen. It's just some like normal escalation happening in this time. Okay, today by special request from William, who is learning Spanish, he has his class, his Spanish lessons today, so I will let him start with his update. Do you want to do it in Spanish or in English, William? Your choice.
We can do it in English today, but soon I'll be ready for the Spanish community call to So thanks. I've been doing a lot of the research that I've talked about in previous community calls. I've been thinking a lot about peer prediction ideas that I have this blog article from a few months ago where I talked about how to use techniques from the academic literature of peer prediction to have a better handling of deposits for risk-averse participants in Kleros, particularly in cases where you have like an option that wins with a really high rate of the time, like you have a freelancer small business dispute where the freelancer wins 95% of the time. And how do you calibrate the deposits in such a way that people are incentivized not to just always vote for the freelancer, but still don't have like crazy deposits that they, like they're just absolutely slashed if they vote incorrectly. I encourage you to check out the blog article I wrote about that like a while back to see some of those ideas. We're continuing some of that research. And in particular, we have a conference coming up in London in a few weeks now, the 24th of April, I believe, where we're going to be talking about lots of mechanism design questions related to decentralized justice, having different panels and presentations. Particularly, there'll be some interesting researchers there to talk about their ideas related to peer prediction. So I'm looking forward to sort of exchanging my ideas with them and see if we can come up with cool mechanisms that can be made into dispute kits for future like types of use cases in V2. We also have.
Yeah, go ahead.
As I was going to say, in terms of other conferences, I'm also set to speak at a conference on governance at Stanford, I think on the 9th of May, that our PhD student Jan is partially involved in the organization of. So for that, I'm going to probably talk about SPTs and how they are used in Kleros for juror selection, but also broadly can be used in governance, related to these ideas of like Glenn Weil and his group's research around using SPTs for quadratic voting, and how that relates and compares to SPTs used in juror selection. Some of the research we've been doing, where there's common themes, how can be related to Clarence governance as well.
Cool. So you are going to be quite busy, King's College, Stanford, I mean the conference circuit at quite nice places, by the way. So April 23rd, there's going to be company building workshop for legal tech founders at King's College. This is more for practitioners or students who want to learn how to build a project, a company of legal innovation. Part of that will be about, Kleros and decentralized justice in general, and how to implement these ideas into resolving disputes in different segments. So as you know, our goal, our strategy at Kleros is to have a protocol that can be used by different companies that will serve different verticals of the market. You can think about this similar to, let's say, the Bitcoin protocol. So you have the Bitcoin protocol, which is like a ledger that accounts for units of coins. And then there is lots of companies that were built on top of the protocol, like Coinbase, Lemon, Binance, and they all use some service that is provided by the decentralized network of computers, and these companies serve the end users who use them for as wallets or whatever. So our goal is that the Kleros as a protocol will be serving a number of companies, which will provide a service to companies that are going to be, for example, like in e-commerce, in airlines, for example. You could have another company specializing in fintech, like what Lemon does. Another one could do insurance. I mean, not another one, just lots of others. And they will all tap into the Kleros network of jurors to make the decisions and provide the right incentive for people to make the decisions for the case. So in this workshop, I'm going to explain a bit of how one can start a legal tech project, how to do like a strategy, how to do customer discovery, how to do marketing, well, all of the things that are involved into building a new company or a new product. So this is going to be a full day workshop starting 9 a.m. until 6 p.m. And it ends with companies or the participants pitching in a like demo day style their project to the rest of the audience. So it's going to be quite cool if you are interested or inclined to legal innovation. You do go, because it's going to be like a really nice workshop, and to learn also from our experience. I mean, what I'm going to explain is not something I read in a book. It's what we learned over time by building a company. And so that, and we are going to have also two guests hosts with me. One of them is Sophie Nappert, who is an arbitrator from international arbitration, a very well-renowned arbitrator doing like oil and gas type of dispute, like over like multi-million-dollar disputes, and she's been a part of our community for a long time, and she's going to help the projects consider the legal implications of building a legal tech company and how to avoid common mistakes. And then Rob Dean, who is he's a board member, supervisory more at Kleros, and he is a mediator or a professional in the mediation industry he's from the UK but based in Abu Dhabi, and works in a very important company doing mediation for construction disputes. And he's going to help participants structure their services in a professional way, as they do in that arbitration and mediation company where he works. So it's going to be extremely cool. And he's going to also help them implement, because he's an expert in AI applied to mediation. So he's going to help them, participants, think what type of problems can be solved through AI, how to implement AI tools into the decision-making process. And so super cool. So yeah, that is on April 23rd, 24th of April, this mechanism design conference with many of the big names in peer prediction and decentralized justice, and the people who have been working and researching on the topics that we work on. And of course, William is going to be the main star, because he's the person in the world that has done more research about decentralized justice. And I think there are quite high odds that he will get the Nobel Prize in economics someday. Okay. Okay, that is for about the conference. Okay, I will let maybe Marco, do you want to start with the business development update? You're there?
Marcos, I'm sending you the request to speak. In the meantime,
Yes.
I'd like next week, it will be great to see William talking about the game theory of the tariffs and things going on. But let's maybe next week.
Okay, so now can you listen to me?
Yes.
Great. Okay, so video updates, at least from my side. This week we have some calls with some Web3 projects, Silicon Tech and BitTrusty. I already mentioned you about BitTrusty, I think, last week. But yes, this is kind of like an Airbnb where they want to use Kleros to resolve disputes. Then we have been in touch with people from MetaMask Card. Well, actually, Fortunato was in touch with some people. I was in touch with another people from MetaMask Card. Today we had a call. Well, the idea, or at least our idea, is to resolve the dispute that they have with their debit card. I mean, any problem that a user has with their debit card of MetaMask card or any other card, or any other debit card. Ideally, it would be good if the users have the alternative to resolve their disputes with Kleros. So we were talking with them today. Then we were doing some updates in the new website this week. Then we have with Mendoza, we are planning to give some presential lessons to people from Mendoza to create a new court of jurors from Mendoza to resolve the neighbor and the consumer conflicts that happen in Lavalle. That Lavalle, as you maybe remember, is this city where we have the agreement with the Supreme Court of Mendoza. So yeah, this is something that's going to happen maybe in May or June. We still have to confirm the when we are going, but it's going to happen in the next months. Well, and this, as usual, we are still chatting with some of our leads. For example, in an hour, we are having an important call with Federico and this company that is going to sell Kleros Enterprise. I don't know, Fortunato, if now you want to continue, or Federico, if you want to add something.
Let me just comment something about the Mendoza thing, because this is interesting in the way we think about Kleros and in general about how decentralized justice system work and the service they provide. You know, there is this 19th century intellectual called Alexis de Tocqueville, who was a French guy who went to the US in the early 19th century, in the 1830s, to study how he went there first for studying how the jail system worked, and but he stayed there for a while, and then he learned lots about the political system. He was there in the time where Andrew Jackson was president. What time was that, William, when Andrew Jackson was president? Are you there still, or you left already? Well, he's in the 1830s, I think. And so he made this, wrote this book called Democracy in America, where he explains why he thinks that the United States is a country which is specifically adapted to have a democratic government. And he speaks about jurors and the jury system in the United States, and he makes a distinction, two things. So one of them is the jury system as tool, as a criminal prosecution tool, and as a way to find the truth about crimes. So that is one way to see the jury system. But the other way, and this is the second way in which he insists the most, is the jury system as a political tool, in the sense that it's a way to involve citizens into the government of the country, in the sense that people have the right to judge. We would call it peer-to-peer justice, which is, very important, pillar on which the idea of Kleros is built. So on the one hand, you have then this idea of crowdsourcing to better process information, because more people with more diversity can produce better decisions. But on the other hand, the people who can be drawn as jurors, they become better citizens in some way of their community, because they feel that they are more involved in the decisions and in the government. So decentralized justice in general has, also these two ways of thinking. On the one hand, this idea of crowdsourcing jurors can be useful to scale the simple solution to very high numbers and very fast. If you have to resolve millions of disputes, you can use people, crowdsource people to do the decisions, which is the way we see it as a justice as a service. You can just outsource your dispute resolution to a panel of crowdsourced jurors that will decide and make the decisions. But so this is sometimes not just what Kleros does for a partner, in the sense that some partners want not only a decision done by a crowdsourced tool, they also want the decision done by their own members of the community. So they want citizens from the community to be the ones who have the right to make the decisions. When Kleros started, there was no proof of identity protocols. There was no proof of humanity. So you only had the tokens. And then if you stake the token into the court, you could be drawn. And that is okay. But that's not enough for a number of use cases. In particular, for example, for the use case that Marcos just mentioned. The government of Mendoza, they don't want any random person from the internet to resolve the disputes that happen in Mendoza. They want Mendoza citizens to solve those disputes. This is why it's important for this to happen, to have proof of humanity in order to make sure that there is one person that has a verified identity in the system. And then that person should receive a soulbound token that represents their belonging to the community. Okay, so just a bit of why this is important for some use case. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, just to mention that the government of Mendoza wanted to implement this since the beginning, but at the beginning we didn't have this possibility because we were with the V1. So as we promised, now with the V2 we are going to implement it. So I think it's good that we are doing what we promised at the beginning.
We always do what we promise here at Kleros. That's what we do. So yeah, so this brings more opportunities of more integration, because for lots, and I would say, I don't want to say most, but for many potential partners, this is very important. They want people from their community to resolve the cases, and this is what Tocqueville mentioned as the political function of jury systems. So you come to this community course, and you always learn something about Tocqueville or about the ancient Greek. That's who we are. Okay, let's go now. Yeah, Fortunato, please.
Hey, hello. Thanks, Federico. Yeah, we certainly have like a lot of possible use cases, and in the about curation in the previous week, we underlined pretty significantly that we are bullish on certifying and verifying real-world assets, real estates, wine, diary products, intellectual property, and so on. But this doesn't mean that we have any less focus on Web3. We have partnership ongoing with Etherscan, Ledger, and also, as Marcos mentioned, with MetaMask. We are actually recurrently in touch with them to see how we can improve our ecosystems and aligning our tools. Also, I think that Marcos also met some of their team members in Argentina, right?
Yeah, of MetaMask, they had a stand.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, we met them in this event that was 2 weeks ago in the merge. So we contacted them there, and now we were talking with these people that Fortunato and Wang Mian have been talking a while because of MetaMask snaps.
Yeah. Plus, we for the side we already were in touch with MetaMask. We renewed recently our reward program to incentivize contribution for Web3 asset verification on Kleros Scout. Plus, another interesting vertical that we will soon launch is verifying and certifying vaults. For those of you who are not familiar with vaults, in simple terms, they are an investment tool. You place your crypto in this vault, and the admin has a strategy. Usually it is an automated strategy, and you earn yields on it. So where Kleros stands into this, Curate can verify these vaults and say, okay, this vault can be considered safe to invest because it only interacts with safe assets. Let's say Uniswap, USDC, and so on. So imagine how this would simplify investments for regular users. You want to place money somewhere, and you can check that specific investment tool is verified. And as we always say, you don't have just to trust the verification badge. With Kleros, you can look yourself how that item was verified and why it is safe and why it is a safe investment. In conclusion, the idea behind this process is always the same: provide certified information which are publicly verifiable on chain for every single items. And like we do this, as Federico just said, we do this at Kleros by involving the community through crypto incentives. So you can actively contribute to these processes and get rewarded. And of course, you get rewarded if you contribute correctly, because in Web3, it is easy to say, earn by joining, by contributing to our project. But in our case, it's important to say that community, that our members brings a positive impact, a positive value to our product. And there are several ways to get rewarded, and they can be as a curator, as a juror, or even, as we shared some days ago in our profile, even by staking PNK. So yeah, there are many ways to contribute to the Kleros ecosystem and getting rewarded for it.
Yeah, so we started this idea of Kleros as a certification tool for financial decentralized finance. When we launched Kleros V1 2019, we launched also this app called Kleros Tokens that people use it to verify that some tokens that wanted to be listed into some exchange, for example, at Finex back then, and then Uniswap also comply with a number of conditions or guidelines, like not being Ponzi, not being impersonation of other tokens. So all of this curation system started working in 2019, so a long time ago. And this curation for vaults is a new, like, a new iteration of this idea of securing DeFi. Instead of verifying individual tokens, now this verifies vaults where people can deposit funds. I mean, if you want to have a, I'd say, like a metaphor of traditional finance, this is kind of the regulator of financial markets, where they certify that XYZ bank complies with conditions to be secure and for people to be able to deposit their funds in a trusted entity. So this is, if you want to understand how this vault, and so people will know that if they deposit funds into that vault, so this vault will only be able to interact with, or will be only able to do some types of transactions and not others. For example, it won't be allowed to buy, tokens, meme coins or whatever. So if you saw The Big Short, the movie, you might remember that famous scene, where the credit scoring companies were like putting like AAA, rating to well assets, the CDOs of the very poor quality mortgages and subprime mortgages, and basically the certification was I don't want to say corrupt, but it was not transparent. So this resulted in lots of assets that were low quality and high risk be certified as high quality and low risk, which was not the case, and this ended up in a very bad financial crisis. Yeah, Fortunato, you want to add something?
Yeah, because I think this topic of certification is important for the reason you just mentioned, because usually the certifier earns, right? They have a profit from a company or whoever asking them certification. So if they give bad certifications, they will just find a different certifiers, to also refer the scene from The Big Short you were mentioning. So, and we came across this problem also with real world asset, with the certification webinar we had a couple of months ago, that in both for winery and dairy products had the exact same problem. So certifier, just it's a way to profit for them, releasing certification. And of course, this is from a let's say from the point of view of fairness, this is not exactly the best scenario.
I mean, if you remember the scene from The Big Short, there is this lady who works at the certification agency, the rating agency, and the guys are asking her how they make the decision of what is the rating to give to assets. And I mean, they at some point they ask her, okay, so you don't really check, you give the AAA to anyone who pays you to do it, right? And she says something like, but if we don't do it, they will just go across the street to the competitor and they will give them, the certification, and this is how we lose business. So that misalignment of incentives results in, bad pricing of assets and ultimately, financial collapse in the worst case scenario. Someday we can maybe make a video of me in a hot tub with champagne explaining this, like Margot Robbie does in the movie, or playing blackjack, as Richard Toller and Selena Gomez, yeah, we can do that with AI. Okay. Imagine the memes. Okay. Jean, do you have any update about the community?
Yes, I think it will be nice to make a quick recap of the updates that JB shared last week. And of course, we have a list on text, maybe for people to check as well. But basically, one of the points that the team have been working on is a new gated dispute kit. So it allows courts to be gated to an ERC20 or an NFT, and it will help, for example, with the integration that we discussed with Mendoza and other types of integrations that require some type of filtering of the jurors, and also with HATS protocol that is a way to manage DAOs and manage permissions that is being used by some DAOs. Okay, one interesting thing is that there's now a proof of concept internally for voting, for private voting that do not require commit and review, which is the current the current way that we have private voting on Kleros right now. That is not great from a user perspective, the user experience perspective, because it requires 2 transactions. And by using this protocol called Shutter, we can do it with only 1 transaction. And if it gets adopted, and we at this point it looks like it will be adopted in the main version of Kleros, then it will be easy to turn on this option to have private voting. So this is pretty nice. It also improves the game theory around the incentives, right?
Yeah, just let me explain this for people who are not very much aware. So one common question about Kleros is, okay, if I can see on chain how other jurors voted, I just need to copy what they voted, and then I am in the coherent majority, and then I earn money, even without making the job of analyzing the case and all that. So with this tool, then we can have on-chain votes, but we don't allow people to see what others voted. So this solves the problem of people copying other people's votes. Yeah, Jean, go ahead.
Yeah, because in the current situation that we are relying on appeals to, for example, to change the outcome of a vote, and maybe maybe having private voting will help the first rounds be more accurate and avoid that. So next thing is that the dev team is creating a more friendly front end to display the results of the disputes after they happened, and on different languages, because of course we have now the pilot with Mendoza, we had a pilot with a country from the Middle East, and probably other pilots incoming, and it's very useful to have like a very like to remove the part that is not interesting for the parties reviewing the outcome. So basically, just an interface that shows how the justification of the jurors, the dispute policy, the dispute, the question, and all of the more relevant information. Also, the team has been working on the staking rewards for the V2. Right now, we only have staking rewards for the V1 and the Gnosis the Gnosis courts. So one of the things that we voted on keep 66 is to implement rewards for V2, and that should be activated after it comes out of beta. So there are some UI improvements, also the VIA project to make V2 receive cross-chain disputes has been reactivated, let's say. So there's now a new developer working on this, and there will be some testnet, some devnet release coming soon. One interesting thing that we did not comment much yet is that the escrow V2 is now live on Arbitrum, and it's currently on beta, so we are not recommending to use this for high values, and it's currently allowing only payments for 0.5 ETH. So, but you can already test it, and since it's on Arbitrum, it's very cheap to create a transaction, and I think we should experiment more with this, maybe do something with the community, and the interface looks great. It has the same visual language of the V2, so it's a lot more user friendly than the V1, and we also have like a new interface for the V1 that Guangdong created, but this one is even better than that. And I think these are the main updates for the V2. There's lots of other stuff like improving the subgraphs that we had some issues with, and some integrations with other networks with reality. But well, these are the main updates, and just I think the last thing that I think is more important is what Fortunato has said, that currently there's the API for staking on the courts is around 16 or 17%. So if you start to be a juror, you will start earning from that, and you can, and if you submit text to the curate to the Kleros Scout registry, you can also earn PNK with that, and then stake to be a juror and get juror rewards. And you can also challenge submissions to the Kleros Scout registry. There's usually there are some opportunities of making a challenge and getting the deposit of a submission with that had a mistake or is not correct. So yeah, I think that's those are my main updates. And one more thing that we are making our Instagram account grow a bit. So we are posting some videos And we have now a TikTok account as well. So one of our objectives is to make Federico a TikTok star. So if you
I mean,
if you have
we adapt, to the market, reality. So when it was cool to not be on Medium, we moved out of Medium. Then now, yeah, I mean, yeah, we're flexible.
yeah. So sorry for Tomato, we interrupted you.
Oh, no worries. Actually, I wanted to follow on something you shared about the IPY and PNK that I think we didn't mention it officially in the community call last week, but you now can buy PNK through another exchange, Ahora Crypto, which is a fiat to crypto exchange, and it's non-custodial, so they do not keep your deposits, but you basically buy them or sell them, and they get directly into your wallet. So this is a very straightforward way of getting PNK. Plus, if you're listening now, we are in direct touch with them. So in case there are, some support that you need, you can also ask us eventually.
I mean, if I were any of you, I would just go to Ahora Crypto. I mean, buy PNK and then stake it on the course to earn the rewards. So I mean, that's what I would do. I mean, you're free, and very soon maybe you could even deposit that in a certified vault, by Kleros Curate. Uh, so it's also worth mentioning that. Now we are in the last, leg towards the launch of the official V2 Kleros version. The one that is currently in Arbitrum that you can use that is being used for Kleros enterprise use cases like Lemon. We already mentioned that we are working with the insurance company MetLife for disputes involving insurance dispute between a insurance company and policyholders. So that version is still a beta. It's still a bit, might have some bugs that most were corrected, but it doesn't have the economic security that the Kleros V1 has. So what's coming now is that we are finishing the VIA bridge to make Kleros cross-chain, and then start the audits of the smart contracts for the Kleros V2 official version. That will take some time to audit because there's bounty programs and the traditional audit methods. And then after we are confident that the court is secure enough, then we will actually launch the Kleros V2 court, and the V1, to whom we love because it gave us great moments, will be deprecated and go to a museum of, I guess, justice history. So yeah, it's sad. It's sad, but yeah, it's necessary too because the progress cannot stop. So we have that. Also worth mentioning that we already onboarded in the last few weeks a bunch more developers. So now every of the Kleros products has like a dedicated developer, which will speed up a lot the development times and the fixing bugs that we find along the way. Now, today we onboarded Diogo, who's from Portugal, and he will work on the escrow. Then Curate also has a developer, Via has a developer, the court, all of the different products have a dedicated developer. And this is, so now the team, the development team is more or less, complete with the shape that we wanted. So now we are not planning to add more developers at the moment. So we have the team that we needed for the stretch that's going to go to V2 and beyond. Okay, so we have that. Also, we onboarded DevRel Parul, who is going to work on all of the documentation we have, which sometimes is a bit old. And all of these new products we have require documentation. I forgot to mention for Proof of Humanity, that is also one of the products. So we are working on documentation. Parul is going to start building like tutorials and different materials for developers who want to contribute to Kleros. So this is a really great news, and also will free some time from me and from Clement also, and well, JB and Wang and who are mostly involved also in the recruitment process to do other things. Okay, I think I don't have anything else for today. Jean, yeah.
Yes, I have one more thing. Like I invited a couple of people to the community call. I want to give them a shout out. And there's Romy here. She is organizing Meets Latam that will be in Brazil this year before DevCon. Before DevConnect. And I think Brazil it's a very interesting place for Kleros because we have like lots of people from the academic sphere that knows about Kleros, that supports Kleros, and we even found an article written in Portuguese this week in Portuguese, but we still don't have like an integration like Lemon or Mendoza there yet. So it will be nice if this year we finally enter into this market, right?
But we start by Novo Hamburgo.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, I was this week. I was just doing some research about the papers about Kleros, and I found this one I shared with Jean about some guy who was doing. I think it was a master thesis about how to use Kleros for resolving real estate disputes in Brazil. There's lots of people who do lots of research and publish papers as parts of their master thesis. Implementing, I somehow remember off the top of my head, it's like this real estate from Brazil, then others for dispute resolution in NFTs. Lots of people who research like, intellectual property, matters. Others, people doing like family law, resolving disputes about family, like divorces. I mean, don't use that Kleros for that. At least not for now. It's a bit early stage for using Kleros for those things. Maybe in the future, I don't know, but yeah, it's a bit early. But these are some of the things that people, even bankruptcy proceedings. There is a professor from Universidad de Buenos Aires who is she's a professor of bankruptcy and proceedings, and she developed a research paper about Kleros for deciding how should the assets after a bankruptcy be distributed between different creditors. So if you just Google Kleros, you will find like lots of some of the craziest applications of Kleros that you can imagine. Jim, please continue.
And also we have Pedro Brewer listening here as well, and he's organizing Ethereum Argentina that is this weekend in Cordoba, and it's another probably the second biggest city related to crypto in Argentina, or Mendoza probably is one of the top three as well. So I'm not sure if I will be able to go, but I'll try to go. There's
someone will go.
Yes, some of us will go. And there's Eti that is organizing now spaces, like a space for discussion of about Ethereum in Spanish. And I think you also met him in República Dominicana, right? And there's and there's Axel working for Wonderland. Wonderland has been doing lots of different work on different protocols in crypto. They recently launched something with privacy pools that I don't know if you remember, Federico, but the paper written by Vitalik and Amin and others that Wonderland helped implement. The paper mentioned Kleros as a way to create like a blacklist of addresses that were related to hacks or were involved in like some terrorism or things like that. So it's crazy that now Wonderland is actually implementing the paper.
But it's not very different to the, Kleros Scout kind of use case, right? Of curating addresses that are whitelisted or blacklisted, right?
Yes, it's very similar to that, and the way that what they created with the list is that they can tell when someone deposits in this privacy pool, anonymous pool of funds, if the funds are related to a hack or not, using ZK.
Right. So this is something. It's also connected to the, the travel rule of for financial institutions that they need to make sure that the addresses which they interact are not like malicious in some way, not linked to money laundering or stuff like that. So we actually have an ongoing conversation with a company that needs to pay. For example, they pay their contractors in crypto, and they need to make sure that the address where they are sending funds is not blacklisted. So I mean, this could be applied to that as well. So I mean, there are so many things going on that I'm not in in the loop of everything, which is great, by the way. But yeah, I mean, remind me that, Jim, because maybe we can make that connection too, because it's the same use case.
Definitely. And one more comment. There's Marcos listening, not Marcos Pernas, another Marcos. He started to create a framework to create jurors, to create automated or AI jurors on Kleros. So I don't know the status of the project, but it's pretty cool what he has done already. Looking forward to have him join the automated creation court.
Well, in the conference in London, I'm going to speak a bit of how we are using AI jurors for solving cases, and I'm going to mention the work we have been doing in the automated curation court, and I'm also going to speak a bit about how prediction markets can be used actually to predict decisions by the jurors, and there are lots of design opportunities in cryptoeconomics coming from the combination of like prediction markets and Kleros. So yeah, I don't want to go to that rabbit hole now because it's going to take a long time. But I will after the conference I will explain a bit more how that works. And how lucky you are that you're going to Cordoba, because one of my favorite places in the world is in Cordoba. It's called Calamuchita. So yeah, wish I could be there. It's beautiful river, beautiful like hills, and yeah. Okay, I guess that's it, guys, for today. Thank you very much for coming. And if you want to, just one last thing, if you want to have an update of what's going on in the development of Kleros, listen to last week community call with JB, where he explained everything that's going on from the point of view of development. Cool. Well, thank you for coming, and well, I'll see you on Twitter, I guess. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye bye.